Hello class, welcome to our lesson dealing with section 3.1, which deals with simplifying algebraic expressions. Chapter 3 starts looking at things with variables and things like this. It's really important in order to be successful in your future classes that we kind of lay some good groundwork this year. So I know there's other ways to look at things and how to write things, but I really want you to follow my lead about how to set things up, think about the grammar of mathematics, and making sure you follow some of those directions. Today's first activity and questions just deal with what we talked about in our warm-up yesterday, or the last class period. Make sure you know kind of what these pieces are all talking about, so take a moment and pause the video and make sure you know how to answer all 6 of these questions. The key with all of these 6 questions is making sure you know how to deal with things like subtraction or increase by as addition, product is multiplication, divided by the sum. Anytime it's something divided by something else, like the sum of something, those two things are in parentheses together. 6 times the quotient. You may see this in parentheses, the x divided by 3 piece. Anytime you see quotient, you could also use the division symbol, but realize that x over 3 is probably how you're going to see it in the future. Okay, this is a chart, and what I've done here is I filled in all the answers, and so what I've done is I took 0 and plugged it into the expression and see what I get. So I get 6. So 0 times 3 is 0, plus 2 is 2, minus 0, and then plus 4 is 6. And if I plug in 1, okay, if I plug in 1, I get an answer of 8. And so I've just gone through, and so I don't want to spend too much time on the plugging in of the numbers. What I want to focus in on is how to deal with simplifying expressions. So for example, letter A right here, the answers are 6 and 8. That corresponds to this lowercase letter d. Notice its also answers are 6 and 8. So somehow this 3x plus 2 minus x plus 4 is the same as 2x plus 6. And this is what we like to call simplifying expressions. Notice all of the first column are much longer, okay, in terms of how many pieces there are to the expression compared to the second column where they're all 1 or 2 pieces to the expression. So to get these two things to match up to each other, really what you have to do is combine things that can be combined. So for example, this 3x right here cannot be combined with plus 2 because it doesn't have an x. But 3x and minus x, so notice here, 3x and minus x can go together. And essentially what you want to do is look at coefficients, the numbers in front of the variable. So this is 3x and this is minus. Remember, if there's no number, there's a 1 there. So 3x minus one of those x's would be 2x. And then plus 2 plus 4, they can combine together. Those are known as constants. And 2 plus the 4 is 6. And combine that together, 2x plus 6 is the same. So the first column is the unsimplified version. The second column is the simplified version of the expression. The next one, letter F, on this side, the answers are 4 and 4 when I plug in 0 and plug in 1. And then on the right side, notice that the answer is 4, okay, for this first row. So the reason that works is 2x plus x, so 2 plus 1 more x is 3x. And then 3x minus 3x, well, it's 0x. Well, I could write it as 0x, but 0 times anything will be 0, so it just goes away. And so I just have a plus 4. Well, I don't have to write the plus sign if it's just plus 4. I can just write it as 4. So these two things, this letter F here and lowercase letter a, they are the same exact expression, just one is simplified compared to the other. The next one I want to look at is letter H. There's 2 ways to deal with letter H. First off, you could combine things inside the parentheses. So I could combine the 1 and the plus 4. I don't care that this is minus x. That minus sign goes with the x. Okay, you could also do keep, change, change, and make it plus negative x. That's another option for you in that situation. 1 plus the 4 is 5, so I just combine that together. And then there's a 2 out front. That 2 then needs to be distributed into the equation, or excuse me, into the parentheses. So 2 times 5 is 10, and 2 times minus 1 is minus 2, or negative 2x. You say, well, how do I know if it's minus 2x or negative 2x? Well, they're really the same. If you say it's negative 2x, there'll be a plus sign in the middle. And remember, adding a negative is the same as subtracting a positive because of keep, change, change, or add the opposite. So what you'll see here is one answer that would be acceptable is 10 minus 2x. Perfectly fine. But you'll notice that the one I corresponded to is negative 2x plus 10. So 10 minus 2x can be flip-flopped. And you say, well, wait, subtraction can't be flip-flopped. Well, it can as long as the negative sign goes along with the 2. And I can do that because if I make this an addition problem, 10 plus negative 2x, then I can do the commutative property and switch them around. The next one is number or letter I, and it corresponds to letter B on the left side. This one I'm going to go ahead and distribute first instead of combining terms together. Notice there's just a negative sign in front of this. A negative sign, remember, a subtraction of something does the opposite. So this negative sign essentially is going to take everything inside this parenthesis and alternate. So instead of 4, it's negative 4. Instead of minus x, it's plus x. Instead of plus 2x, it's minus 2x. And then you just combine things that are similar. So 5 minus 4 is 1. I can't combine that with x because this one has an x and the other part didn't. But plus x minus 2x, think about it, it's plus 1 and then minus 2. And what that will become is negative 1x. You never have to write the negative 1, though, as you're dealing with that situation. And so when you're looking at those questions, make sure that it's a negative 1 plus x to find that answer. Okay, so the main idea here is combine like terms. So please make sure that when you're going through these scenarios that you're combining things that are similar together. So for example, here I have this cool expression. I've got 5 times this quantity. First thing I need to do is distribute. So 5 times x is 5x, and then 5 times 2 is 10. But now all I can combine together is the things that are similar. So 5x here minus 3x, those both have x's, so I can combine them. So 5 minus 3 is 2 x's. Think of it kind of like integer counters. There's 5 of something, you get rid of 3 of them, there's 2 of those things left. And then plus 10 plus 1 becomes plus 11. The reasoning for simplifying is so that we can make expressions easier to work with. Okay, they're going to be less of a hassle when I plug things in. There's less to plug in. So for example, if I'm looking at all of these scenarios, okay, all of them are more complicated on the left side than they are on the right side. So the goal is we want to simplify things down so they're easier to work with in an algorithm, programming, or plugging things in. Your homework today has a few questions with combining terms together. I know that combining terms is a fairly new idea for a lot of you, so do the best you can. And when you do these questions, what I want you to work on is writing the original problem and then equals the answer. Okay, you're going to be expected to do that in future classes, so I want you to work on that as you look at your assignment today. Have a good day, everybody.